welcome to the Real Losers podcast. Take number 2. Is that safe to say? Take number 2. This is we are doing a re-recording of our first episode that didn't go as planned, mostly because Connor was the loudest out of everybody, which is
Lies.
I think normal. Which is normal.
And nobody had to know this was a re-recording.
You know what? It's good to be honest, Edgar. You know, I want to be honest with everybody. This is a re-recording. We're going to release the original recording on our Patreon tier, okay? If anybody wants us to hear how terrible we are, $10 a month, $60,000 one-time fee gets you access to this episode. In all seriousness, we're the Real Losers podcast. We're 3 chuds who decided to be like, you know what? The market isn't saturated enough with movie podcasts, so we're gonna throw our hats in the ring. What do you guys think? Does this sound like a good idea?
Define chud. Not everyone's going to know what you're talking about.
We need
Connor,
more
what is chud?
Chud. It literally stands was cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller from the movie Chud and Chud 2, Bud the Chud, aka people who take movie collecting way too seriously.
Obviously, that's not me. So welcome to episode number 1. My name is Frank. I love movies. I guess I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I love to collect movies. If you guys were, if we showed you the video, you could see in my background that there's way too many movies that I own, and hopefully, you know, we could bring you some good content. That remains to be seen. Edgar, go ahead and introduce yourself, even though I just said your name.
Hey everybody, I'm Edgar.
What?
Whoa, spoilers. And I like movies too. Well, movies are fine. No, I do like movies. I like them for as long as I can remember. And just like Frank, if you could see behind me, I have a wall of movies. And I also collect other stuff like action figures and music, posters, pretty much anything in one way related to movies.
Yeah, you do collect a lot of posters. I do notice that. I think you're more of a poster collector than a movie collector. Is that a safe assumption, Edgar?
No, I would say more of a movie collector.
Okay, got it. You're one of those chuds that collect Criterion movies. You're one of those douchers.
Gotta have my Criterion. My pinky's up right now.
Even though I have a ton of Criterion movies.
Now the Criterion fanatics are more of a cinemaphile kind of.
Oh, here we go.
Who is that speaking?
Who's speaking? Whoa! Who's this mysterious? Who is this mysterious person that's speaking? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, let's see. Brian is the name, but everyone calls me Connor because there's like 12 Brians in our life, so it's easier for most people to call me Connor. If you go to the Cinesylum screenings here in Phoenix, you might hear the hosts mention Connor occasionally, and that's me, because when we go to those events, there's, I would say, 6 or 7 different Brians who show up.
There's too many Brians.
Yep. Frank and I are the old men of the group here. We're in our 40s. We're at 82 crew here, and
That's right.
Grew up
I'm getting there.
On VHS tapes. I don't know what you know those are, Edgar, but they're like pretty large.
Yeah. You would have to, if you didn't rewind it, you got a fee slapped into your account.
Exactly.
I grew up with VHS tapes. I actually had a rewinder, like the...
Born and raised on science fiction and action films. For example, it's mostly Star Wars, Star Trek, and James Bond. I loved car chases and lightsaber battles and spaceships and all kind of stuff. And as I got older, my grandparents introduced me to Godfather, and that's kind of where I started my cinema adventures with Godfather. Was the first, what I want to say, quote unquote, true cinema piece that I'd seen outside of genre flicks like sci-fi and action and all that.
But I thought that you were like, my grandparents introduced me to God, and then leave it at that.
No, we were not religious, so don't worry about that. That's another podcast, though.
It pains me to hear that retro VHS is retro now. Back in my day, I used to collect VHSs. I would not have room right now if I were just collecting VHSs. And even for Edgar, I think even for Edgar, it's retro.
Well,
VHS.
yeah, it's been what 25 years since they were
Uh,
like the big thing. I mean,
oh
I
my
grew up with
God.
The
them. I was
early
born in
aughts, the
'96.
early aughts,
Yep.
as our friend Kirby would say, to the early 2000s is when they stopped making those. And the late 90s is when DVD started hitting the shelves. So the little baby Edgar probably did play at VHS tapes, right?
I grew up with VHS tapes because we didn't have a DVD player, and the Blockbusters where I lived still had VHS tapes. I even used a floppy disk at some point just
What?
to give you. I
I
know.
remember. I remember saving my documents, my school documents,
One
on a fucking
one
floppy
picture
disk,
per
dude.
disc. One picture
One
per disc.
picture,
One Word
downloading.
document per disc. Yeah.
Listen, browsing the internet on dial-up was the worst thing ever, man. That's all I got to say.
I
I'm
didn't grow up
glad.
with that, so that's all you.
Yeah, yeah. You were born
For
in.
talking
Yeah.
formats, yes, VHS. I used to have my grandparents would hand me down their broken VHS players, and I would fix them with rubber bands. So I used to have two VHS players and would record tapes onto each other from Blockbuster. I mean, I would never violate copyright law in any way.
No.
But
Okay.
Yeah. Disclaimer,
my
FBI.
introduction
Yeah.
to, say, movie collecting was on two fronts, though, as my one grandmother always did pay-per-view and recorded 3 movies per tape. We had a bunch of tapes with different movies on them that, like, here's a tape of Seagal, here's a tape of Van Damme and Swayze and whatnot. But my other grandmother had lots of tapes of different movies. My dad's mom, we called her Grams, and she had a cabinet full of tapes, and there was like The Hobbit animated, and there
I,
was
I
Alien and stuff. So
Let me ask you something real quick though, because somebody gave me this a couple days ago, and I don't know if you guys grew up with it, but it was something called a video disc. It's almost like a giant
whoa.
cartridge or something.
oh,
Whoa.
those they call them, was it CED disc or something like that?
I don't know, man, but they're like the size of a vinyl, and it comes in this like plastic square. I'm sure
Oh
there's
yeah.
somebody out
Oh
there
So
listening
man, I
being like,
remember
"Oh, this
those.
kid doesn't know,"
so
but
there
it's
were 2 other formats during the VHS era that actually 3 if you count beta. So the beta came out with VHS, but later there was laser discs and video discs. Video discs, they were like a giant floppy disk where the disc was
Mhm.
inside the thing.
Yeah,
So when you put it in the player, it pulls the disc out, and then you pull the case out. And when the movie's about half over, you got to put the disc back in it, turn it over, and then put it back in to watch the other side.
sounds
Whereas
disgusting.
Laserdisc is like a giant vinyl record sized CD basically. And we have our one of our friends, Brian Flynn, who is a huge Laserdisc collector, and Laserdisc was probably prior to DVDs the best format because you could get all the different digital audio options, like DTS and different styles, and you could have multiple tracks and commentaries. Like that's where Criterion started on Laserdiscs, and they were like the premium format over VHS. It's expensive to collect them, especially the players, so it wasn't quite as popular as they could have been.
Yeah, no, it's I like that everything I could just go out to the store, buy a little, a Blu-ray or 4K movie, and that's all I need. None of this collecting massive, formats. I have no room. I'm running out of room, guys. I don't know how we could do this any
That's the
longer.
struggle of the collector. You
That's the
don't you
struggle.
don't never have
But
enough room.
the cool thing about it is that we are able to get rid of our stuff and trade it in to get more shit. So you know what I'm saying? It all works out. But I think it's time that I think we go around the room again. And are we ready to do our top favorite movie of all time? Our favorite movie of all time, guys. Are we
Favorite
ready?
movie.
Is that time? Is that
Are you
that time
ready?
of the podcast?
That is the life question.
I
Yeah.
think we're gonna go with the youngest, the baby of the group. Go ahead, Edgar. He is young by like 20 years, so Uh, Edgar, go ahead. He's also yeah. He is the beauty of the he is the hot one of the group. So
I'm
go ahead.
29 for anybody wondering.
Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa.
Am I doing just my favorite movie, or you want me to give you top 4 like I'm being interviewed by Letterboxd on
You
the
can
red
do
carpet?
whatever you want, man. I can never do top four because it's ever changing. You go ahead, man.
That is right. Well, my favorite movie, and that never changes, at least it hasn't changed since I saw it for the first time, is Alien. Ridley Scott. For as long as I can remember, has always been at the very, very top. It's one of those movies that I feel like I can just step right in. The world that movie crafts and the way he shoots it, it's pretty sublime. I probably watch it like twice a year, every year. The rest of them, change, but I'll give you another three just to get an idea of who I am, I guess. Winter Light, Birdman, good movie about a religious crisis of faith, which I seem to have every other week, so pretty
Who
relatable.
doesn't? Who doesn't have
Who
one?
doesn't? Sorcerer, William
Oh,
Friedkin.
oh,
That's another
good
movie.
choice, man. God.
Is it
Not a lot of
Friedkin or
uplifting stuff.
Friedkin?
I've
Yeah, how
heard
do you say
Friedkin
it? It's
before.
Friedkin, right? Yeah,
That's
it's
what I've heard in
Friedkin.
interviews. I know somebody who pronounces it Friedkin. Only the man can tell us, and he's now gone. So,
Wait,
uh,
we actually have him on the line. We're gonna pipe him in. No.
we're playing the Ouija board to talk with the spirit of William Friedkin.
We can come back to that when we have our pal on, who's a freaking fanatic.
He's gonna curse at me or something. If
Yeah,
we
yeah.
call him.
Oh yeah, Friedkin. He'll punch you right before a take. He's like known. We could do a whole episode on him.
he'll
I can't
slap
wait.
the
Go ahead,
Ouija board
Edgar.
right on
Yeah,
my
pretty
hand,
much.
and,
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 4 it changes every now and then, but right now, Mikey and Nikki, Elaine May, great movie. John Cassavetes, Peter Falk, one of those good ones.
What I always like to ask people is when did you fall in love with cinema? Was it obviously like everybody else when we were younger? Like what? Like how do you knew that like, oh, this is what I'm gonna love for the rest of my life? This is what I'm gonna collect for the rest of my life. I always like to ask people that.
It was kind of a slow process, but I can track it down to being very young and watching a lot of creature features. I want to say it's how it started. You know, there was a channel in Mexico that used to play all kinds of stuff. And I remember seeing Jaws and Crocodile, Alligator, Anaconda, mostly monster movies. And that, at first, that's what I like to watch only. That somehow morphed into horror movies, which, if you know me, that's my main thing. I love horror.
Yeah.
All kinds of horror films are my pride and joy. That eventually led to foreign horror films, as always. Those are always great. You know, Argento, Fulci, you know, stuff like that. One of those foreign horror movies happened to be Caché by
Nice.
Mr. Michael Haneke.
Nice.
And that was the first time that I remember being completely unsettled and disturbed, but not in any way that I had been before. Because a lot of the other times was just, you know, I saw somebody get blown in half, so I'm like, oh, wow. But Caché was just something more sinister, I want to say. It really got under my skin, and I was in high school, and I was like, man, why did that movie make me feel that way? So I started watching more of his films, which probably shouldn't at that age, but I did regardless. You know, The Piano Teacher, Funny Games. And then from then on, I just knew that I like movies, and I tried to look up pretty much everything that he ever liked. That's how I discovered a lot of stuff. If I watch something by a filmmaker I like, I'll try to see what they like and who they influenced, and then who those people influence, and so on. And it just became a big web of films. And pretty much the moment I watched Caché is when I knew that this was going to be part of my life for the rest of it.
I honestly hope we do a whole episode, or at least a big chunk episode of Mexican cinema, man. Mexican cinema is awesome, dude. There's a lot of shit, you know, that's out there. So we will definitely, hopefully, do one on that. Connor, you're next. You're being interrogated. You're next.
I'm interrogated next. Oh boy, here we go.
Keep it. We're on a time limit. Keep it to about 3 minutes, Connor.
I'll keep it to about maybe an hour 15.
You're going to get the
so.
shock collar if you don't.
So when we go top 4, it's tough. Really tough, because my top 2 rarely changes. My top 4 fluctuates in how I feel, what I watched recently. But number 1 movie, all time for me, favorite. My favorite, in my opinion, the best, it's Blade Runner. I like the final cut the best, but honestly, I think all the cuts have their merits. Theatrical is probably the weakest, but the director's cut is how I was introduced to it. You know, that was what was showed on TV most of the time. That's what the tape my dad rented and owned. But Blade Runner, I don't know what it was about it. I think it's the immersion that it's science fiction, but it's deeper than that. It's a noir flick. It's a cyberpunk. It's got kind of questions. Is this good? I mean, a lot of future movies showed things like really, I want to say, like nice and shiny, like Star Wars or Star Trek. Well, Star Wars kind of, I guess, but like Star Trek. But whereas Blade Runner was the first one as a kid that I saw where the future was bleak. The Earth was not great. Everyone was crammed in place, and we were to the point where we created these beings, replicants, to do the dirty work for us. And then when they rebelled, we ended them, I guess you want to say. We turned them off. We murdered them, basically. So the world kind of wasn't the first time where I felt like the ending wasn't necessarily a happy ending. I mean, yeah, the quote unquote villains died, and the hero wasn't some like here's a medal, you saved the world or something. He's still
Yeah.
the world sucks. He still doesn't know where he fits in, and and he questions his own self. And the girl he likes, he's got to run away with her because she's a replicant, and it's not. Like I said, the first movie that kind of challenged my perception of happy endings and what the future could be like. And then number two for me, and it's weird how this came about. It's another Ridley Scott movie. It's Edgar's number one. It's Alien.
Ridley Scott's the goat.
He's great. I mean, he may not be what he was, but he still makes solid flicks. And again, science fiction, but horror more than not noir this time. And again, a bleaker future of corporations running everything, and then these aliens run around that are pretty much immune to everything. But as a kid, I didn't know who the director was. It wasn't until I was older and started actually looking into film that I was like, oh, my top favorite movies are the same director. That's pretty cool. Um, but that was probably my introduction to the horror genre. Even though it's not a straight horror movie, it still plays like a horror film, and it's sci-fi horror. And then after that, most of the time for me, it would be Mad Max: Fury Road. That's probably the most recent movie in my top. That's 10 years old now. What an amazing film. I grew up loving Mad Max, especially the first one. I know the second one, The Road Warrior, got most of the love, but I loved Mad Max because of the intro to his character and how he became the Road Warrior. And growing up, I loved even Thunderdome. I love that movie. It's a little, more Hollywood-ish than the other Mad Max films, but I enjoyed it. And then now I am, 30 years old, and all of a sudden here comes another Mad Max finally after, almost 30 years. We get Fury Road and Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, my future wife there. And I was like, oh, this is going to be epic. I mean, he's done Happy Feet since Mad Max. I don't know if this is going to work out. I mean, they're going to. And when I went and saw it, I was blown away by how amazing of a film it was. It actually was. And 10 years later, it's still top 3, top 4, top 5. It's still one of the best movies ever made in terms of scope and scale, and just 2 hours of nonstop action. You get like a 5-minute breather in the middle, and then 1 more hour at the very end of just nonstop blowing things up. And then probably number 4 would be The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. Again, probably it's sci-fi, but this one's more on the horror edge than, say, Alien does, because the practical effects for the aliens are pretty amazing in this.
Legendary.
Absolutely amazing. And they still are kind of what you would compare, like, for creature effects, it's still like the gold standard of creature effects. Whereas Blade Runner and Alien has some of the best, like, matte paintings and miniatures. And like sets. What this is, the creature effects take center stage in The Thing. And it's a movie. The ending is not clear. It's not a happy ending. That they stopped the aliens, but again, it's Mad Max kind of had a hopeful ending, I guess you'd call it, where she's taken over and Max is slipping away as he does. But again, The Thing doesn't have that happy ending, because I found myself thinking that the happy ending doesn't always the best kind of ending for film. And The Thing was so good because it's legitimately scared me. Because when they first time I saw that blood scene where they test the blood with the hot lead, I jumped like 20 feet, man.
Yeah.
And just the visuals, especially when you're a little kid and you can't tell they're fake, and you're watching it on a an old CRT TV. It's not might even be like a 12-inch TV. You can't pick out that it's fake. Your little kid brain thinks, "Oh my gosh, this is scary. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight," and it scared me as a kid, and that kind of stuck with me the rest of my life. Is how good it was and how good Carpenter was. And I actually saw The Thing before I saw Halloween, which is crazy.
Yeah, Carpenter's a master for sure. I just wish he would stop playing video games and smoking weed to come back. I no, absolutely, but I know he has at least one more in him. Listen, Tarantino was right. Really quick, Tarantino was right. That's why he wants to just do 10 movies and done. I think he has a point where if you're a director that is in your 80s, the quality goes down. The quality goes down, man. I mean, it's not like that for everybody, but it's obvious that the director's work is better when they're younger versus when they're a little older, But that's just my opinion. I'm directing that.
Depends,
I'm directing that to Ridley Scott. If I guess in a roundabout way, that fool. If anything, mad respect. That guy's 80 something, and he's still doing 5 movies a year or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying?
George Miller, like 80s,
George
when
Miller
just did Furiosa.
That's the thing.
Stryker was also making some good movies there at the
He
end.
was doing, mad respect. But like I said, it's very rare. Yeah, you're right. George Miller did Fury Road, and that guy everybody was old. He was old. The cinematographer came out of retirement. So it was just a combination of everything. But that's why, Tarantino's like, I'm just going to do 10 and done, and I'm not going to be that old guy in my 80s doing movies.
I think for him, it's more of I don't think he will be able to handle if he made a movie and like nobody liked it.
Well, he's already freaking out because movies are not being shot on film. He's already having a fit. So he's like, I'm out of here. Fuck this. My name is Frank. Cinema Burrito. A lot of people, I guess maybe one or two of you guys know me. Mostly the people in this little podcast that we're doing.
The three of us know you.
Literally nobody else knows me. Like, who the hell's that guy?
Broken hearts along the way.
It's lit. That's
all over
that's
Mesa,
that's
Arizona.
That's my name, man. I break hearts, man. I rate movies on the Letterboxd and I break hearts. That's just all I do. Favorite movie of all time is gonna always be, and it's something that I always struggle with. It's always going to be Magnolia, 1999's Magnolia. Paul Thomas Anderson's, in my opinion, probably the best movie he's ever going to make. He's also told himself that this is, for better or worse, the best movie he's ever going to make, which I tend to agree, I guess. I don't know about his later works are great, but his earlier works are always going to be my favorite. But Magnolia is a 3-hour sprawling intertwining stories of people in California. It has people like Tom Cruise, a bunch of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Everybody's in that movie.
Tom Cruise had the long hair in that one. I can't remember.
He does, and he's really good in that movie.
What year
my
is
God,
Magnolia again? I'm trying to remember.
December '99. It came out literally around my birthday.
MI2.
He was growing out his hair for probably. Yeah, you're right, for MI2. I don't like to give myself a top 4 or 5, whatever, only because it's ever changing. It's tough, man. I could throw in Aliens in there. I could throw in Fury Road. I could throw in the 1991 masterpiece by Vanilla Ice, Cool as Ice. I could throw that in there. That's in my top. It's just an ever changing, and it's tough. And I God forbid I'm ever in one of those carpets and they'd be like, a premiere and be like, what's your top 4? And I'm going to be like, because The Thing is up there. Like, it's a little bit of everybody, like the last couple days, I just been watching nothing but that freaking guy film, Bug and, his variety of movies is awesome. So it's just like, I could go on and on and on what my favorite movies are, but it's almost virtually impossible. Like, kudos for you guys for having a list. You're like, I have a list, and this is what it is.
I mean, the top 2 or maybe even 3 never change. But after that, I mean, if I watch Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, suddenly it's in my top 4. If I watch New Hope, or watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or the first Halloween, suddenly my top 4 changes a little bit. But pretty much those top 3. And then The Thing is number 4 is pretty much where it stays.
For me, it's mostly the first one that never changes. It's Alien. In recent years, Winter Light number 2 has been there because, again, every other week I'm like, is there a God? And then that's a movie that I can go
The answer
to.
is no.
Or there's some weeks for Edgar that Halloween Ends is his top like fucking movie of all time.
Oh
That nobody.
boy.
Oh boy.
It's
Listen,
better than 3.
when we get to
Oh,
Halloween,
we're gonna.
I'm gonna
Oh,
bat for that movie.
there's gonna be fighting. We're gonna do this in person actually, so we can start swinging.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Because
bring my
people.
baseball bat and evil dies tonight.
I will
Evil
not
dies
defend
tonight.
Halloween 3, but I will defend Zombies Halloween movies, though.
But that's just part of being a movie fan. I think
Yeah,
you have your
everybody's
list. It can
allowed.
change, and
Yeah.
even like, who knows? Maybe one day I'll watch something that I'm like, you know what? That's my number one now. You gotta-
Everybody's allowed to like stuff, I guess.
What?
Yeah.
No
Huh?
way.
Opinions? If they're not if you don't share the same opinions,
Yeah,
well,
then you're wrong.
how dare you get out of here?
Well, that is the white Christian nationalist way.
Oh, here it took a whole 17 and a half minutes for it to turn racist. Here we go, bring race into it and religion.
The white guy talking about white people. That's me.
But yeah, no, listen, everybody's allowed to like what they like. Nobody should ever shit on what you like. I shit on Halloween Ends all the time, but I'm just at the end of the day, just like I said, I'm just giving shit, that I personally don't like it, but if you like it and you love it and you think it's better than any Bergman film out there ever, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. You know what I'm saying?
I would like to meet that
Halloween
person.
Ends will not put you to sleep, though, so that's the one thing.
Whoa. What are you trying to say? Are we talking about, is this a Tarkovsky podcast suddenly?
What are we talking about?
Listen,
The sleepy wizard.
listen. Tarkovsky requires you to think. It requires you to use your brain, and
Requires coffee right before
and it
you start watching it.
it requires speed, literally, for you to take a tablet of speed for you to stay awake during
Bergman
these
and God are not
movies.
that far away.
I think those are going to be good conversations once we
Oh, for
start maybe
sure.
talking about specific
sure.
filmmakers that have
for
their
sure.
place in the pantheon for good reason, but
Yeah.
that we might feel differently about.
Yeah, listen, everybody has their kinks. I like Spielberg. I love Spielberg.
Oh, Spielberg's great.
There's other people who love, Jess Franco. We definitely know somebody who loves Jess Franco. And
I think most
we're
people
gonna-
who are going to
and-
listen to this like
and-
Jess Franco.
And we
the expert.
know somebody who loves him and it's basically put on a on a watch list of liking too much Franco. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to have him. I'm pretty sure he'll be on. But yeah, man. I mean, movies are great. Movies are awesome. My issue is that people are always making, who make you feel bad about liking movies. You ever run into people like that, Edgar, Connor?
Thankfully, no. The group of friends that I have that are pretty close that
They're
I
all
hang out with,
freaks. They're all perverts.
they're pretty. If anything, I'm the one that makes me feel bad sometimes. Not to get too personal on Maine, but sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'm like, man, do I really need all this stuff?
Yes.
And I'll talk to my friends about it, and they're the ones that tell me like, hey, man, this is what you like. I had a whole conversation with one of them, not that long ago. He's like, hey, man, that's what you like. That's your personality. Like, you have something. There's people that don't know what they like or what, hobbies. I'm like, and you have this thing. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
I used to have friends who I'm no longer with friends, with them because they used to make me feel bad. It's like, what do you just sit there all day and fucking stare at a screen? I'm like, yeah, I do. I like it. It makes me, it's an escapism. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're just escaping your feelings. I'm like, yeah, probably. That's what alcohol's for. That's why I drink. That's why I drink alcohol while watching movies.
That's why I drink and watch.
Yeah. Hello, Connor. What about you, man? Has anybody ever made you feel bad about like your passion, your hobbies, like movies?
They question my financial choices when I'm like,
I mean, who doesn't?
I got
That's a
$60.
good friend, though.
I got enough to buy.
That's
one
actually a good
movie.
friend. You're right.
Like, oh, they $60 to my name. Well, that's like 3 movies, or one like 4K like release from somewhere. Like,
Listen, I've been there a lot. I have been there where like, oh, I only have $60 till payday. You know what? Why shouldn't I buy a $30 movie?
I can spend $25 on a Criterion 4K and still have money left over.
Exactly.
And you're set, right? I mean,
you don't have to eat. What's more
you know the food
what's
bank,
more
I mean, come
important?
on.
Yeah. Are you really a movie collector if you're not going to the food bank or asking for handouts?
Oh wait,
Hello, I mean,
Donate
nope.
plasma every
You
2 weeks so
donate
you can get.
plasma, you sell your plasma, so you can turn around and use that money to buy movies on the latest
that
Severin
And
sale
you're
or
and
helping
something.
people, so
yeah.
win-win.
Yeah, you're being smart. You know what I'm saying? You're being smart about your collection, and I think that's just awesome. But at the end of the day, guys, at the end of the day, is this it? Are we just gonna collect until we fucking drop dead? Is that the
Pretty
idea, guys?
much.
No? What happens? Are you gonna be in this mentality of collecting when we're 75? You think so? Do you feel like you are?
I feel like I am because it's not tied to, at least for me, I'm not like, oh, I just need to have things to have on the shelf. Like it's because again, it comes back to movies. I like movies, and it's as long as movies are around and they keep putting them on physical media, I'm gonna collect what I like. I'm gonna have to have it, especially when you get into the whole issue of like, not everything's gonna be on streaming, and sometimes the streaming versions, they edit them and I understand that times change and whatnot, but to change the content of something that came out like what 40 years ago, it's kind
Exactly.
of getting into weird.
So I think what happens a lot of times, these companies don't really care, but they have their edited for television version. And when someone licenses, they're just like, "Oh, here you go," and they give them the
Yeah,
edited for television version. And they don't even know it, and the streamer who gets it is like, whatever. That's what they give us.
and that's a valid thing too. Like if they don't even care enough to know what they're putting on.
The
Yeah.
version on our site, it's that's the version they made for TV. That's the version they licensed to all these networks, and then they treat like a streaming service, like a network. Like, oh, here's the network version, where curse words or like butt cracks are edited out or some crap. Like, what was that movie Splash? Like on Disney Plus had the butt crack edited out, which is like the TV version. Then when they point it out, they're like, whatever.
Yippee Mr. Falcon.
I mean, we've all seen Die Hard with a Vengeance. Do we need the unedited sign from him? Just saying, on TV they don't edit.
No, I
They
hate
edit that
everybody.
sign. Like
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah,
streamed
yeah.
it and it's there, and I have the disc and it's there, so they didn't edit it out of that, and Disney owns that one, so I think it depends on who's licensing what, and if they don't feel like fixing it, they're just like, whatever.
For sure. Yeah.
Streaming is convenience, man. Like I said, during my lunch breaks, I ain't gonna be streaming, Bergman movies on my little phone,
You don't want to watch
or
Cries and Whispers on
yeah,
your
or
lunch break?
I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch Interstellar on my little phone. Like, otherwise Nolan will get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Or the Nolan chuds are gonna get mad at me.
He's gonna come out of the phone like the Ring.
Yeah.
First, what I'm going to say here is that
Oh, here we go.
No, we don't.
movies deserve to be seen. And if your financial or life situation puts it in that you can only stream a movie, I'd rather you stream that movie
Oh, for
and
sure.
watch it than never see it, because it kind of sucks when, like, yeah, I really want to see that movie, but I can't afford to buy the disc or I can't afford to pay for it. Like, well, it's on Tubi with commercials. Boom, I'm going to watch it. Or it's on Prime Video or something, or some other
Yeah.
another free service. Like, go get a. So what's great is Canopy and Hoopla. You can get your library card and watch lots of great movies on those. Especially Canopy is great. Like, if you like your Criterion stuff, they got tons of those movies that Criterion released on Canopy. And if you don't have the money for a streaming service, but you have internet like at home or on your phone, you can still watch these movies. And if the only way you can watch movies is in your bedroom on your phone because you can't afford a TV, then so be it. That movies deserve to be seen by
Absolutely,
everybody.
yeah.
So.
Or you can another route that sometimes I recommend people is if you can spend the 50, $60 on a used Blu-ray player and you happen to know somebody like us, I'm always happy to lend out
Yeah.
whatever to a friend
And
of mine.
DVDs are still the number one selling format, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with watching movies
Yeah.
on DVD.
And you
that's
can
all
find them
got.
at Goodwill for $2-3 every time.
Or you could randomly befriend somebody and have him give him access to your Plex server.
No, we don't
You know what I'm saying?
pirate. You can't talk about pirating on here.
No, what are you talking about? What do you mean? It's Plex is 100% legitimate.
So
I don't know.
technically, you can make copies of your movies for yourself, but you can't make other people to have them, I think. But even that's a gray area. But no, we don't talk about pirating here, whether we care about it or not, because we'll get flagged.
Listen, you just said if you don't let anything stop you from seeing that
you get
movie.
your free Canopy account with your free library card, and you can stream that movie.
Listen, nobody likes to read. So I remember I told my kid, I'm like, all of this, I'm pointing at for people, this is an audio podcast. All of this is going to be yours someday. All these movies.
He's
And
like, great.
He's like, oh shit. It's just gonna be like inconvenience to people. And I told him, if I fucking drop dead, do not take it to Zia Records, because they're gonna give me like they're gonna give you for like 1,000 movies. They're gonna give you $5 store credit.
If you drop dead right now, Edgar and I are gonna make sure to take your collection for ourselves.
Oh, I'm already looking at things in the background. Like, that's mine.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Or my Al Adamson. That's going with me in my casket. That's going with me in my casket, bro.
At the end of the day, if I drop dead,
Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I think this is a fun little topic. So you already know what happens when if I drop dead. This is obviously I most likely I want my friends to just come and grab stuff, because I think it'll be better off with somebody who actually enjoys cinema. Edgar, what would you like to happen if you just suddenly dropped it in the middle of this podcast because it's so fucking crazy? Whoa. What would you do with your collection? What would you like to happen with your collection?
Well, first of all, if I dropped it right now, with all due respect, that might be the least of my concerns. Probably be in hell or something.
I will drive 100 miles an hour to pick up Frank on the way to your place.
Hey, by the way, before you drop dead, please give us your address. Thank you. So we could go and...
let me go get a pre-second confession real quick. But realistically, though, I told my friends, and half jokingly, but also I do mean it, so hopefully you guys are listening to this, which you should be, because I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this, I've told you guys before that you guys can come in, you can take your pick of whatever movies you want. I do not want these sold, kind of like Frank said.
Yeah.
Not just because they're going to rip you off on this close trade-in place, but also because it's like, man, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there that's hard to find. There's a lot of stuff in there that
you have to buy a booth at a convention and sell my stuff.
Oh my God! All of our if we combine all the stuff that we have into a booth of like, I think it would be gone by the end of the day. I honestly
only advertised at the horror screenings, so only the horror people can come by my estate sale.
Somebody will have a field day with this. Yeah, it's crazy.
I've told them that they can come. I've told them that they can come and grab whatever they want, because I don't have kids. First of all, my parents don't really watch movies that way that I know of. Don't come at me in the DMs claiming anything.
Papa?
Please. I will demand a test.
Wait, what? Mama? What?
Yeah, Mama.
Wait a minute.
Kid from Burial Ground?
Oh my God! Don't even get me started with Burial Ground.
We had told my friends they can take whatever, so that's really what it boils
Connor,
down to.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to take. I have to take a plane to fucking go where you live to even grab your stuff.
That's like
that
20 minutes outside of the town.
I have to. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get a U-Haul. Like, would you prefer it to go to your friends, or would you like your family to be like, here you go, this is all yours?
I pretty much let my sister decide what happens. And my will is gonna say like, if my friends want any of my movies, let them take it. Everything else can be sold, and then the money can go wherever.
Yeah, what a great intro! What a great episode. We're just talking about our deaths already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
you know.
When everyone hears this podcast, they're gonna hear me talk about non-happy ending, bleak future movies and death.
Well,
and death.
You would think. I mean, hopefully, in a perfect world, we die a long time from now. But in your hypothetical scenario, I die right now, this second. So
You're dead, man.
I got a plan.
Yeah, we would find out where you live, and then we would show up there to take your movies while your body's laying there.
You're that one character in a pilot episode that, like, oh, you think it's going to be the star, but then ends up getting murdered fucking at the end.
Comes out, the real list is just me and Frank.
Yeah, it's just me and just Connor and I.
Like an episode. What happened to Edgar? Oh, he had a 9 years on the
We have the
listen,
video,
you know,
and if you subscribe to $6,000 Patreon, you can see the video.
yeah. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you can watch the snuff film that we recorded.
Here we go.
Or listen to our unaired episode that's never going to make the light of day unless you donate. So,
Well, at the rate
you
we're going,
know,
this may not air either. This might be take 2, and then take 3's coming
um,
up. Or...
well, to be fair, this one's actually it's flowing a little bit better. This is a heavy flow podcast. It's flowing a little. No, this is staying in. I'm actually going to enhance it. I'm going to raise the level on this so my voice is really loud.
Dolby Atmos for that phrase.
Only this section of the podcast is going to be Dolby Atmos.
Certified?
No, no. Nobody does that anymore.
Is Edgar, are you filming yourself on VistaVision 35 millimeter?
It's 16 millimeter actually for the gritty.
15 per or whatever.
No,
like Sinners.
That 8 millimeter camera that your great grandparents used to record home movies on.
You did mention something though earlier, and I kind of wanted to ask you, both of you, because you pointed out how I collect posters, and I talked about how I collect action figures as well. Do you guys collect anything else besides movies, posters, or toys, whatever it might be?
Kind of. Yeah, I do collect a little bit of action figures. For some reason, I don't know why, I'm like collecting comic books again. It's fucking weird, dude. I don't know why. Like, choose my lane. I gotta choose a lane, dude. It is too much.
I sold like 95% of my comics a couple years ago to Jesse James Comics in Phoenix.
Oh my god, I remember him. Yeah, damn, I forgot about him.
I traded
Did you get paid?
like all these action figures and most
Did he
of
pay
my
you?
Funko Pops. Yeah, I traded him. I sold him 3,000 comics for $1,500.
Yeah,
but he doesn't give you the money right away, right? Like that's how is that how it works? Or does he cut you a check and be like, here you go, man?
He sent me a payment every week.
He did. So he paid in 4. So he fucking paid in 4, bro. So I see. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought they just gave you cash and then you walk out of the store.
Most of my action figures. I don't have any action figures left, I don't think. And traded in most of my Funko Pops to Zia. When now Zia's like, oh crap, I got all these stupid Star Wars and other kind of Funkos. But I have some horror Funkos, couple that I kept, and my couple Funkos from the band Ghost. I have kept, but most of mine are gone. Those are all gone. I do have a couple boxes full of Sega Genesis games. I have my Atari 2600 and a bunch of games. I have a broken PS2 and like 2 or 3 games, but I have a PS5 modern system and I have a Genesis and the Atari. I don't really have anything in between because I really don't collect the in-between ones. You can usually get those on like PlayStation Plus or something, but I love my Sega Genesis and I'll never get rid of that. So
yeah, I was about to ask. Besides Connor, Edgar, do you collect any like video game stuff like that besides your PS5, I guess, or whatever?
No, not really. I have the PS5
retro,
and
I collect
that would be
unplayed games in my Steam account.
Who doesn't?
I own like
I have the
2,000
PS5
games and I've played like 100 of them.
Yeah,
I'm very selective with what I play anyways too. Like I mostly just play either movie-based games or horror games. That's really it.
Well, that's the thing. As a movie watcher, collector, chud, or whatever, you only have so much time to do either or. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to split.
Unless
it's
you
tough.
Just don't
it really
sleep
is.
Like I do, and then
okay, I mean that's true. I mean, yeah,
you
have to start.
2 hours of sleep per night, and then Saturday night you sleep for 12. It's
well, like to live past 50. So yeah,
Connor's gonna have to start sleeping for once. You know, now that he has a job at the strip club. Yeah. But yeah, this is a.
I collect books too, just so I can see.
We can talk about that bullshit here. Books.
I'm smart guys and know how to read.
I used to have hundreds upon hundreds of books, and I have one box. But I used to have shelves of books.
Yeah. I have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of books on my Kindle. I have it on my Kindle now, by the way. So everything's been condensed.
Stephen King, Clive Barker, John Saul, a bunch of stuff like that.
Neil Gaiman, I love this stuff, but what a piece of crap. But yeah.
Oh, is it one of those situations where we can support his work, but it's one of those situations, but we
bought it or you buy it used? Who cares? I won't give him any more money now.
I already had the Sandman with that whole stuff came out. I still have them. But...
Well, not to get too much into the situation, but what I'm asking is it okay to still buy his work even though he's done terrible things?
Used.
Used.
I think used is usually a good term.
But isn't it okay? Isn't it okay?
Online.
But it's okay. It's okay to support it's okay to still like their work while not liking who they are.
Listen, so Stardust was a comfort book of mine, and now I can't even read it without thinking about him. So I'm like, oh, it's no longer comfort anything anymore.
And I think a lot of times it depends too on what that work is, because there's sometimes where maybe some of the stuff that they did, it's also in the work, so you're almost kind
I
of like,
mean,
man, like how much of this is...
actually, that makes more sense. Listen, J.K. Rowling is a big one.
Uh,
I struggled for a very long time with Joss Whedon. He was basically canceled, and I loved Buffy, Angel. He did the first couple of Avenger
in the
movies.
sci-fi pantheon,
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah. So but I did really struggle because I was like, I don't know, do I still is it okay to watch Buffy?
If you notice,
Like, is it okay?
people who label themselves as feminists are the opposite.
It's usually how it always is, dude.
And
It's
If
usually
other
how,
people
yeah,
call them that and they're like, nah, it's not me, and they just play it
yeah.
off, that's different. But when you
But
label
Whedon,
yourself as
yeah,
this, look at me, I'm Joss Whedon, and I'm a huge feminist. Look at Buffy, and you're like, oh, okay.
yeah. Most of his shows are female centric. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I think a
And
lot of
so,
times it also just comes down to you as a person
yeah.
and what
Yeah.
you know.
Well, like I said, like speaking of gaming, I got a lot of flack for purchasing the Hogwarts Legacy game, that came out a couple of years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
because it directly supported J.K. Rowling, but that game is amazing. Like, it sucks that these guys have to suffer, these really talented game developers have to suffer
Yeah, they
because
get
of
paid.
one person's work.
They got paid
That
already, so it's
that
over.
that that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, is it okay to
I got
like
it for
people's
free
work
on
even though
PlayStation
they're
Plus,
terrible?
I still don't want to
I
play
mean,
it.
I should I should have waited 2.5 years to get it free on PlayStation Plus. Really, if I'm being honest with you.
It was free
But
on PlayStation Plus?
stay tuned for the episode where we praise J.K. Rowling. No, no, it's not that. It's not that kind of podcast. Listen, so I think we are good. I think we recorded a good enough kind of intro, a taste.
Did the
as
listeners really care about our opinions on stuff, or do they?
I don't think they really care, but I
But
think
they will.
They will, or else. I can't wait to talk to record a couple, another one, because I think we have a lot to say. Connor has a lot to say for sure.
A lot. I talk too much sometimes.
It's
You
okay.
heard
That's
him.
what. It's fine. I'm gonna mute him. It's fine. I muted him. It's just gonna be us in like 20. There's gonna be 20 minutes of silence and us just being and then we just unmute him.
Well,
But
I mean,
I think.
this is just
Yeah.
the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yeah, dude.
In the deleted episode, we go on
Oh
about
my
Blu-ray
god.
players and
Oh
slip
my
covers and
god. I think.
severed and vinegar
Hey,
syndrome.
we
Yeah.
have time for shout outs
One
now,
more
right?
question. We have time for one more question
One
before
more
we wrap up.
caller calls
One more
in.
call, and it's J.K. Rowling on the line. Hello, J.K. Rowling. Hi. No, it is time for some shout out. We limit ourselves. The first episode we did like 13 shout
You can
outs.
limit yourself. I'm gonna 20.
I think at one point we were shouting out our moms at some point. I
think
mean,
we
it was
mentioned
pretty
everybody
crazy.
we ever met,
Yeah. I think at birth. Yeah, mom. I got my mom on podcast, and she was shouting out her podcast as well. All right, who are we shouting out in our first ever podcast for the real?
It should be
losers?
two.
Whoa!
It should be two. It should be one. The thing that brought us together: Sin Asylum movie screenings, Sin Asylum
Sin
Phoenix,
Asylum,
Aaron,
for
Sam,
sure.
and Danny. Yes, those monthly showings at Academy and monthly showings at Roadhouse, and then occasional special events have brought us together to create this podcast and two new lifelong friendships, I hope.
I hate you. I don't know about
And
you.
then as a result of that, we have Lauren, and Aaron's
Yeah?
podcast. That Movie is Fine podcast. Our good friends, Aaron and Lauren.
Yeah,
Took
Absolutely.
them like 9 months to put out an episode. They just put out one on Sinners, and you should listen to it.
I would like to say that it's because of us that they lit a fire under their ass. If it wasn't we were like, hey, we are gonna do an episode, and they're like, we're gonna do 5 episodes.
As soon as we said we're gonna start a podcast,
we can't let these losers get
they
one before
suddenly
us.
record like 4 podcasts in one night.
Yeah, like,
So,
son of a bitch.
Lauren, Aaron, if you're listening, we know what you did.
They're great people, though. And yeah, like Ryan said, those Sin Asylum screenings, that's how I met these fine folks on this. That's how I met Aaron. I met a lot of people there by now. And and it's
I'm
just a
sorry.
sense of it's all downhill from here. No,
It's all downhill from here, dude.
no, but it's a great sense of community within the film community, really, because it's mostly horror center, yeah. But for example, next, I don't know if this is gonna be out before then, probably not. But they're gonna show Sorcerer on May 28th, so it's just it's a good way to get to know other people that are just like us who care way too much about these things.
Yes,
And
like
just
the pre-show and after-show conversations are great. In fact, Aaron makes these really great 15-minute intro videos that play like before his events that I
Oh,
often
yeah.
miss because I spend so much time talking to you guys and Aaron out front that I miss these really great videos he makes beforehand. But the after shows where we discuss the movies we just watched. I learn new movies I haven't seen or heard about and get recommendations. It's great. I meet new people who have similar interests, which the genre of horror brings people together like very few genres do, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird.
We're with our people. That's what it is. We're with our people. We don't hang. Like I said, at work, I don't hang out with movie people outside of work. It's usually at Cine Asylum. I was about to say Cinematary. Cine Asylum
It's
is
people who may
where
not know,
cancel.
but they used to be called Cinematary at the Majestic, which is a terrible place to see movies, but
oh, here we go.
that's what they used to be called. It used to be Cinematary. In case, well, some people may not know that they switched over to Cine Asylum when they left to go to Roadhouse when they were kicked out.
We're gonna
basically.
we're gonna we're gonna do our a whole episode, a bonus episode for the Patreon on the dark side of whatever
Oh, yeah, how this
Arizona
one
movie scene,
midnight
yeah.
movie Mamacita killed like 4 theaters, but we won't talk about that.
Midnight Mamacita. So yeah, shout out to what was the podcast? That movie is fine.
That movie's
That movie
fine.
is
Shout out
fine.
to
Lauren
Aaron.
is
Two-star
the
Lauren.
driving force. Lauren.
Two-star
Shout out to
Lauren.
Lauren.
2-star Lauren is great. We'll have to have her and Aaron together and separate at later dates because they're great people to talk about movies with. And
Absolutely.
like most things in general, like Aaron
Very knowledgeable.
and Frank are
Very
probably my
knowledgeable.
closest friends, and now Edgar is now becoming a close friend. So
He has no choice.
yeah,
Sorry, dude.
it's great.
Yeah. Let's do one more shout out and get the hell out of here.
Let's do the full
Horrormonger.
30 minutes of shout outs.
This whole episode is just shout outs.
Just shout out it.
Horrormonger, the great Horrormonger here in Mesa, Arizona, is an awesome place to, shop for your any horror stuff. Then the people are great. Justin and Aaron who run that shop are just really really cool people, man. And from what they came from, or I guess Justin, I don't know what the situation, but from what Justin came from,
Is his
his
name
previous
Aaron,
venture.
Or is it Brian?
I thought it was Aaron. Oh Jesus! Oh
Aaron,
Jesus
it's
Christ!
Aaron.
It's Aaron. Okay, I was like,
Okay.
you got me confused now.
There's
So
a lot of Brian's, and they get
there's
they're
two.
out everywhere.
That's why we call you Connor. So their previous venture, it's a night and day difference. And say I'm more than happy to support these
And
guys.
You do not have to trade your soul in to go there.
That's true. You don't. You don't have to make a pact with the devil or what do you call that? Give your
Wave the MAGA
sell
flag
your
to go there.
so here okay. This has been the Real Losers
Our only
podcast.
episode.
I think we have something here, guys. I'm pretty sure we'll once we get this edited together, I think we have something here, and I think we'll.
I'm excited to see
yeah.
where we go, and I'm excited for everybody to listen to our yapping and ramblings about movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
it's
should,
basically
Instagram.
Sing?
Real Losers Instagram. REEL. Real Losers. There's an Instagram. We got my Instagram is replicant.bry. You might know me out there. Cinema Burrito Instagram. And what was Edgar's
Right.
again? Edgar River or something?
Yeah, mine's just my personal one for now. Edgar River, EDGAR RIVER. One day, I'll make a TikTok, but until then.
My Twitter handle is Magnolia Lover. No, it's Cinema Burrito. Our Twitter handle for Real Losers is just Real Losers. Surprisingly, that wasn't taken. I thought somebody would
no
have
one
taken
uses
it.
that, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
My
no.
Twitter handle you'll have to find because I'm not giving that away.
That's
Whoa! Is that where
My
all
own
your
personal-
is
my
that
own
where all your
personal
hot
diary.
hot takes? Is that where your
we
hot
have an
takes
email
go?
address. It's thereallosers@gmail.com if you want to email any questions.
questions, concerns,
Comments,
any, yeah, if you want to
complaints.
tell us we're terrible, yeah,
Complaints
please.
go
Mostly,
directly to Edgar. So
it's mostly going to be complaints, really, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
All right, yeah, yeah. Hey guys, stay tuned. We're gonna work on getting some guests for sure. I think it'll be fun. Thankfully, we have a roster of friends who all love to do podcasts. That
I want to do
screams
that
middle.
live recording where we all hang out together and have people come
Yeah,
and go.
yeah, for sure. And that screams middle-aged man with a podcast. You know what I'm saying? We all have to have a podcast. So
But only one of us is really white, so we don't have to worry about being like
we're,
everybody
we're
else's
not
podcast.
we're not gonna tell you who. We're gonna let you guess that.
yeah. Cinema Burrito, Edgar, or Brian Connor. I wonder which one it is.
It's Connor. It's actually Connor.
Actually, it's not Frank. It's Francisco.
Yeah, get it right. It's
Franquito.
get it right. It's Poncho.
Pancho
Let's get
Burrito.
let's get out of here, guys.
All right.
Until next time, keep watching movies. I think
Yeah,
that's
keep
going to be keep watching movies.
Stay weird, Arizona.
Oh, here we go. I'm editing that out.